A black man that's been around black men his whole life that knows, and I'm talking about working class black folks, knows what you do not want to do is disrespect black men and then expect them to do something for you. Abby Phillips' panel, it's about Obama, it's about the men issue.
Is Obama in the wrong here with how he's talking about black men in particular and singling them out in this way?
Yeah, let's start from here. He is still the greatest living retail politician. He's objectively a top 15 president, but even he can swing and miss sometimes. And here he swung and missed. Here's what he did. Harris has been very strategic about when and how she's spoken about gender and race. And he stepped on that, and when she hasn't spoken about it, he stepped on that message. And I think also with those comments, and there's more to this, but let me just start with this, is that he forgets, at least in that moment, that she doesn't get the benefit of being a historic first the way he did. She's a historic first woman if she wins.
Maybe that's part of the problem, that's what he's saying. Why doesn't she get the benefit?
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't get the benefit, Abby, because black is black is black. And you guys have said she's black. Now, she could have been a historic first if you wanted to lean into her Indian descent or her Asian descent, but nobody wanted to do that. Everyone saw more political capital in saying she's black. Okay, fine. Sans Candace Owens investigative reporting. Fine. Say what you want to be. I still think I'll take Rachel Dolezal over Kamala Harris. She showed more commitment. Change the name. But no. I don't need to preface this and give Obama any types of props whatsoever. Folks. But when CNN is throwing Obama under the bus, I mean, even if it's not an all-out throw, it is a nudge to the small of the back. That's when you know you done. Like Bill Duke put it in Minister Society. You done messed up. You done messed up now, bro. You done messed up.
First of all, we have to remember that this is a thing, like Barack Obama has a history of kind of chastising specifically black men. And like the question is whether what he said is relevant, right? Because there are a few black men, like there are a few white men who are more conservative than black women and more white men are conservative than white women. But the point is, does this work, right? And if there's no evidence that it's true or that it works. And he doesn't do that with, like, you've never heard him say, why don't you white women stop being racist and vote for me or Kamala Harris, or they don't talk to Hispanic voters or LGBTQ voters. It's only specifically black men that he takes this tact that doesn't work.
Why do you think that is?
Because you know why.
No,
because
tell me.
Because Michael want to work in this big town, he don't want to say it. I tell you, because you cannot go calling out white people for how they vote, because white people have agency. See, white people they're not going to play a subservient role in this equation. They're not going to allow you to badger them and to say they're going to say, hey, I'm an American citizen, I get to choose the way I vote. And where I vote is predicated on how I feel about the candidate. So they are free. White people have never been slaves and been under that type of pressure where they cannot choose a president. Folks, you can say what you want to say, but being black, we, over the last 60, 70 years, is a certain amount of social pressure for us to vote one way. Now, there may be some pressures that Republicans feel towards the establishment, and I've heard this about universities and what have you. Not even just white people. I saw a rant by a Saga in whatever. Upset about the white girls that wouldn't give them any play because the BLM movement was at its heights and everyone was anti-conservative. But I digress. The point is, yes, Michael Harriot, who I usually don't agree, but he has a very excellent point. And we've said it on this show. I wonder if Michael's a listener behind the scenes. Is he trolling with an invisible account? Michael! You cannot call out white people for how they vote because you should not be able to call anyone out for the way they vote. because that is something relegated only to the blacks, particularly the blacks, of the black male blacks, I should say. We're the only group that gets this type of treatment. Call us lucky.
The second most loyal, the most progressive group of men on the planet, they don't care about. They assume that they have their vote and nothing.
I'm sorry, man. I got to stop it. I don't want to do it, man, but I got to tell you, man, my stomach, man. I'm about to turn it to the first live stream to just throw up on the. I hate to do it. I'm holding back, man. He said we the second most loyal. These polls ain't loyal. Polls, as in politicians. These politicians ain't loyal. How is that something to brag about? We the second most loyal. Oh, God. This was my point from earlier today that some people disagree with me. I'm like, that's nothing to be proud of. Now, you can say I'm the second most loyal son. But that's your mother. You came out of uterus. She provided for you, hopefully nurtured you, raised you, bathed you, did everything for you, loved you, all these things. You know, tended to you when you were sick, rubbed your head when you needed affirmation, love, a safe place, kept you warm. Your very life, your very existence is in part thanks to her, okay? That's a whole different thing. Can you imagine having the thought in your head that you should be loyal to a party? A political party that is loyal first to its corporate sponsors and its donors. Now, this is not the talk of any other group except black men. And even Michael Hurriot, who was right at first, careens into this BS. I can only think of my man Paul Mooney, man. May he rest in peace. The black man, the old faithful hound dog, at the ankle of Massa. Right there, just right, good old Sassy. There he is. Right where I need him to be. You can kick the dog, mistreat the dog, yell at him, curse him. And in 10 minutes, he forgot all about it. And he's right back in this spot between your foot and the leg of the chair. Friends, that's a sad narrative, isn't it? Why would men embrace this? Folks, if there is a pushback coming, and I do believe it is, if there is a concerted push of black men against the Democratic Party, it's because of this mentality. Young black men are not accepting this, and they shouldn't. No people should. White men shouldn't accept it. Latino men shouldn't accept it. Asian men shouldn't accept it. Indigenous men should not accept it of all colors, creeds. No. The man better. It pains me for that brother to say that. We the second most loyal. I opened up my mailbox today. I didn't get my second most loyal paycheck. Check my stocks, bonds. If I had them, I guess I would be able to. I checked my crypto wallet. No second most loyal crypto deposits. I asked Mrs. Black, did we get our second most loyal bank dividend transfer? Shameful. How can we be taken seriously with this type of rhetoric coming out of the mouths of those who are considered leaders and people with huge platforms? How can we? How? Let's keep going, Johnson. Maybe we'll find light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic. Maybe I'm going over the top. Maybe I'm tripping.
They don't have to do anything for it. And the point of this is that if you don't vote for Kamala Harris and you're a black man, something must be wrong with you. That is the subtext of everything that they're saying.
Well, this is what I would say to this, because I was there when the NABJ interviewed Kamala Harris in Philadelphia, and what Kamala Harris said then was that you asked that question with the assumption that black men are in somebody's pocket. You can't make that assumption. Black men are just like any other group. They have their interests, and I'm working to get their vote. I don't expect to get it because I am black. I am working to get their vote. And that is what she said. And so I think we have to focus on what she said about black men. And I think we also have to focus on...
What? Is Solomon Jones distancing himself from Obama? Did Solomon Jones just distance himself from Obama? Also, I think that Michael Hurriet agrees with me. Actually, I think he's stating that in the third person. These are not his thoughts. He was lamenting about how the Democratic Party sees black men, not how he sees black men. My respect, bro. My respect. I jumped the gun. It's not you. It's the system. It's the Democrats who see us as the lowly puppy dog. My bad. But this guy, Solomon, I can't believe this brother just said that. Did he say what I think he's saying? He said, let's distance ourselves from Barack. We need to focus on this stuff that Kamala said, who I don't believe for a second at all, because she meanwhile got surrogates that are paid running out making the same claims as Obama. At least before Obama shat the bed. Obama just amped it up. But already her good friends, Dale Hughley, Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, were all saying the same thing Obama said, although less refined. They were saying the same thing.
The fact that most black men are going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway. That is the reality. But I think that in talking to black people every day, which I do as a radio host, I've heard some black men say, I'm not voting for her because she is a woman. I have heard that. And I think that is reprehensible.
Okay.
I got to be honest.
Okay, so he's heard it. I mean, are we... when I say we, I mean the collective we as the country, afraid to just talk about a thing?
I think
is
you can
Obama
talk
saying,
about it, but if you
calling
summon Barack Obama to fix a problem, you have to wonder if this fixes a problem. If I am interested in getting Kamala Harris elected, then I am upset because he hurt the strategy that she was employing to win.
Well, I think part of what has to happen, though, is that you have to have that conversation in private. There are some things you talk about in the barbershop when there's no cameras, right? There's some things that you talk about at home. There's some things that are family business, and I think the mistake that Barack Obama made was to take family business in the street.
I didn't have a problem.
Let me let Coleman in there.
Shaming voters is a terrible idea. It was bad when Hillary Clinton did it with deplorables. It was bad when Mitt Romney did it on the eve of the election. Even if there's a grain of truth to it and there's the occasional radio caller that's going to admit to that sentiment, let's actually look at the fact that Biden was struggling with black voters, and that was a topic of conversation over and over again. So it's not about sexism.
Hold on one second. Let me take a look at this.
Man, there's going to be all types of reasons why someone won't vote for someone. It'll be all types of reasons why someone doesn't like spaghetti or lasagna or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. There's going to be people that don't vote for you because you're a woman, or people that won't vote for you because you are a woman of color, and other people that won't vote for you because you're from California, or people won't vote for you because they heard your type of music is not the type of music that they prefer, or what have you. There is a long list of things. Some people wouldn't vote for Mitt Romney because he was a former Mormon or a Mormon. Then someone vote for him because he was white, and someone vote for him because he was left-handed or right-handed, or Leo, a Capricorn, on the cusp of whatever, Sagittarius. I don't know. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, when you have $1 billion, $1 billion, if you can't go stir up votes, rabble votes, entice votes, reach people, touch them, influence them, get them to vote for you, you gotta start looking at the messenger, the person in the arena. You gotta start looking at them. You gotta look at what you're working with. Come on. You should be able to get a number of people to do pretty much anything when you can shape the narrative, when you got 9/10. Kamala Harris has 9/10 of the political machinery at her beck and call. All of them were puff pieces, CBS, ABC. There were studies out there done. Media Research Incorporation. Media Research Corp had a poll going where they looked at CBS and ABC, and they determined that like 93% of their coverage of Kamala Harris was positive, and like 89% of Trump's was negative. How do you snag failure in a climate where 90% of your coverage has been positive? If we're going to point to the fact she's a woman, that's not mitigated by the fact she got 90% positive coverage, over 90% positive coverage, and her counterpart, her challenger, or the other side of the ball, is getting 90% or so negative coverage. How can you then bring up, was she a woman so, or she black so? What? I just told you. Well, if Mike Tyson gets in the ring and the other guy gets to throw 90% of the punches, and he has to put his hands behind his back and take him in the face, and Mike's still standing, somebody ain't got a good right hand. Either someone's chin is Teflon, titanium, triple D, or somebody's arm is made of ramen noodles. It's gotta be one or the other, man. You don't tell me what, but the guy, Tyson, the guy is Lithuanian. He had 90% of the punches that he threw. Uncontested. Talking directly to the audience, to the judges. I don't want to hear it, man. These are excuses, folks. These are excuses that aren't panning out. Now, man, don't tell me that there's always a reason to discriminate. There's always a reason to discriminate. And there's always going to be things that people don't like you for. All you can do, and as a black woman, if that's what Kamala is, isn't she already conditioned to the reality that if you black, you got to work so hard? So what are we even talking about? I thought it came with the gig. So Obama, in a moment in time, in a campaign office in Pennsylvania, he's going to utter these words that's going to change the reality of life? Or is he just, as Michael Hurrier pointed out, being ineffective? Because nothing even Obama says will change the psyches of Americans at the bottom of the ninth or the 12th or the ninth inning. What's going to happen? Fourth quarter, 24 seconds left on the clock. And this guy wants to holler at the refs. How about talking to the people in the ring? How about talking to your player? How about you taking your player in the back, coach, and talking to her? I question if Obama even wants her to win. I know he didn't want her to run. Maybe he didn't really want her to win either. Just a thought.
Let's take a look at the numbers, because I think just to see what we're talking about here, there's been a progressive decline in overall support among Black men and, to a lesser degree, Black women for the Democratic nominee. Biden was doing better among Black men than Harris appears to be right now, based on some of the better polling that looks at these demographics. So I guess the other part of this is, you're talking about keep the business private. You're saying he's messing up the strategy, but the numbers are the numbers. And he's trying to fix a numerical problem that she has, a math problem that she has.
Right. I agree with most of what you were saying, Solomon. I don't think the problem is that he spoke it out loud. I think the problem is that he singled out Black men. In other words, there is a sexism component to this race. There was a sexism component to the Hillary Clinton-Donald Trump race. Right, if Trump wins, he will have only ever beaten women. I can't give you a number, but sexism is in the mix here. But it's not Black men specifically. I think it's men, not Black men. And that, I think, is part of where Obama went wrong.
Well, sorry, guys. The world is made up of men as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, Zach, I'm sorry. America has men in it. It got men in it somehow. Yeah, they do. And hopefully that doesn't change, because I'm one of those guys that's a man. Yeah. And inconvenient truth. If you want to be president, you got to get men and women to vote for you. No way around that portion of it. Guys, what do you think about this? What's your thoughts about that segment? I don't know. At the end of the day, Obama chastising Black voters, Black men particularly, is that a win, a net win, or a net a net decline. Is it helpful or not? 0 to 1. Does it help? No. If it doesn't help, give me a 0. If it helped, give it a 1. I'd have to say 0 based on everything I've seen. I don't see how it helped.